The Preakness, the 148th running of the Preakness Stakes at Pimlico this weekend. And yes, we have two of the very best here to break it down for you and see if we can't find a couple of combination tickets here that we like as we say hello to Marco D'Angelo in the house. Sig is here as well, fresh off Mage, call it what the hell you want. Who saw that horse coming? Oh, that's right. These two guys did on last show at the Kentucky Derby. Marco, welcome in, my man. Thoughts on the Derby here before we dive into the Preakness?
Well, obviously, like the Mage horse going in there with my trip handicapping, you guys know that that's a big part of my handicapping and looking at his last race going into the Derby. Kicking myself that I didn't come out of there with the trifecta like my colleague did. We did have the exacta. So we're going to look to rectify that today. I've got another long shot that we're going to be talking about. Ooh. It's strictly by the trip handicapping. But I will tell you this much. Mage won the Kentucky Derby, but my take from the Derby and watching the Derby, he won the race, but he wasn't the best horse in the race. And I got to give my colleague Sig a lot of credit. He was all over two fields, and that's the horse that did all the heavy lifting in that race, was close to that torrid pace again. And I don't know what these jockeys are thinking about. The last 2 years, the fractions they've put up in the Kentucky Derby. But Two Phils was there early and Two Phils was there late. Ran a super race, just missed. I was hoping he would come back for the rematch here in the Preakness, but maybe we'll see him at Belmont.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that could very well be is what we're reading the tea leaves here. And talk to me here, though, Sig. Congratulations, Mage. You had the ticket, my man. What were some of your thoughts here on what we came away with at the Derby?
Yeah, Joe, first, I'm almost speechless. I think Marco almost kind of gave me a little bit of credit in his last little segment there. I'm not really sure how to respond to that. I'm not used to that at all. So, but hey, yeah, we did really well on the Derby, guys. I don't know if you watched the Pony Pundits we did prior to the Kentucky Derby, but two of the four horses I gave you on that show got scratched, guys. If you are on Twitter, though, about an hour and a half before the race, I did give you my revised top four in the race there. And they ended up finishing. If you boxed those four horses, you ended up hitting the trifecta and the exacta. Paid very well. Dollar exacta paid $165.22. 50-cent try paid $491.18. And if you guys got the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks preview and selections package, you hit that at least multiple times. I'm not sure how much you bet on it because that's up to you guys. That's personal preference on budgets and bankrolls. But you guys should have crushed the Derby here with me. And we're looking to do the same thing with the Preakness this weekend. It's going to be a great race. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, guys. Money to be made here in these big Triple Crown races. And before we get, of course, to the Preakness here, we've got a pretty big race, much like we had the Oaks on the Friday before the Derby. Wow, and before the Preakness, we got the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes, which is always a fun one here. And we've got 12 horses in this field here, and we're going to ask these guys to give us their cards and give us a name of some of these horses that they like. Then we're going to tell you how you can partner up with both here for a monster weekend of not only horse racing, but yeah, we got a lot of NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball. We'll get you that. But Marco, why don't you kick us off here with the Black-Eyed Susan coming up race 13 here on Friday?
Yeah, guys, I'm looking at the 9 horse here, and I know he's the favorite, or she's the favorite, but this horse has done nothing wrong. It's out of the Bob Baffert barn coming in here. Didn't go to the Kentucky Oaks. Well, Bob can't go to Kentucky, so that's one of the reasons. But this horse is 5 for 5, and 4 of the 5 races have been graded stake races. So this horse has raced against the best, has beaten the best, and continues to improve its speed figures heading into this one. This is the horse to beat with the gate speed. The horse will be able to break from post 9, be able to set up wherever she wants to. I expect Flavien Prat just to keep this horse, off the early lead, but in striking distance to make her move. I have that one on top. In the second spot, and I came very close to calling for the upset, but I got to go with the 4 in the second spot, and that's Merlaza. This is a horse that is improving in every start, just 4 career starts. But if you go back and watch the last race, this really impressed me. With a horse that is green, and when I say green, that is a term you use in horse racing for an inexperienced horse. If you watch the trip the horse got, was in tight quarters from the word go. Had horses to his inside, outside, and in front of her. The horse stayed in that position. A lot of horses don't like that. They don't like dirt kicked up in their face. They don't like being in tight quarters. And this horse did not get daylight until late. And whenever it did, this horse just absolutely exploded and got up for the win. I think this horse is sitting on a big race, could pull the upset. That is my clear-cut number 2 choice. For third position, I'm going with number 3. Now, this is a horse that last year was 3 for 3. She's raced twice this year for Tom Amoss and has not done anything yet. So why do I like this horse? Well, you know what I always say. Third start off a layoff is the horse's best in the form cycle. And if you look at this horse's last 2 workouts, they have been beyond sensational. Almost might have been maybe too much. 2 workouts back on May 6th, 5 furlongs, 59 seconds flat. We always tell you the barometer that we use, measuring stick, whatever, however you want to say it, 12 seconds per furlong. So this horse went 59 seconds. Sharp workout. Minute would have been good. Then comes back a week later and goes 5 furlongs again, this time 58-4. This horse is just sitting on a big race, in my opinion. I think the trainer wanted to shake the cobwebs out of this horse. Like I said, first 2 starts were disappointing. If this horse races anywhere near those workouts in last year's form, going to be a major player on the ticket. And at 10-1, I'm intrigued. I have number 3, Hoosier Philly, third. And fourth spot, I could have went a lot of different ways, but I went with the 8 horse, Bellpole. This is a horse that is improving, 2 wins in a row. Now, the last win, very impressive, but there was only 4 horses in that race. A lot of horses scratched. The track was horrific that day. Ended up only 4 horses going to post, but she beat the horses that were left in that race. The race before that, she won by 9 open lengths. So definitely a horse going in the right direction. And the speed figures put her right there with the other contenders in this race. If she takes one more step forward, this is going to be a horse that's going to be on the ticket. That closes out my 4 horses for the Black-Eyed Susan. 9-4, 3-8 for me.
9, 4, 3, and 8. Love those numbers there, Marco. That's those are some tickets right there. That could be huge prices here this Friday. And now in classic Pony Pundits fashion, we're going to see how many of those horses Sig steals from Marco or basically laughs at him. So go ahead, Sig. We got get 4. Come on, tell us what's the ticket look like.
Well, Joe, we are going to be laughing at Marco here because you know what? I had just been trying to be this top pick in here. I think the 9 is a little overrated here, that 7-5 morning line. She is going to be bet. She is undefeated. Got to give her that, but I'm not really sure what she's beat there. I don't think it's been too the Philly division has been too tough there on the West Coast, so we're going to see what kind of horse she is here. But, guys, out of the 2 races this weekend, I think this Black-Eyed Susan race is a much tougher handicap and a much better betting race. And the Preakness is going to end up being up here. I ended up on a couple of long shots in here, and I did use that favorite in that last position here, but we'll get to that. Marco told you a little bit about the 4, Merlaza, for trainer Brad Cox here. She didn't compete in any of the major prep races on the road to Kentucky Oaks, but this Brad Cox filly out of Medaglia d'Oro has won 3 straight races and only lost by a head in her debut at the Fairgrounds in January. Her last race, that Valley of Vapor Stakes at Oak Lawn Park, she responded when asked by jockey Joel Rosario, which tells me this filly has what I like to call the extra gear there. She's able to find more in the race when the other horses are tiring out. She seems to get a little bit more on the stretch there, and just sort of has that extra gear there. Based on the speed figures, that last race doesn't stand out. If you go 2 back to the allowance race she had at Fairgrounds in March, she is definitely a player in this group of horses in this race here. Eileen here is my top selection because, like I told you guys earlier in the segment here, I think that Baffert entry, Feza, is going to be heavily bet. And while she may win, she has a very easy path to get. She's had a very easy path to get here so far. If you guys know the famous Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I think maybe Feza gets punched in the mouth on Friday here. My second choice in here is the 8 Balpool. It's a Rob Atras trainee. It's won 3 of her last 4 races. Her last race was actually a race that was scratched. It came off the turf. She won over a sloppy track in that race at Aqueduct a few back. That's that previous allowance race. So just like I did with the previous horse, I go back 2 races here, and that's the race that really stands out. She cleared the field, won by almost 10 lengths that day. She's improving with each start here. Could run big at a price here. She's 8-1 in the morning line. My third choice in here is the 1 horse, Sacred Wish, for trainer George Weaver. He only got this filly under his care in March following her maiden breaking win at Oaklawn, and thought enough of this filly before he even raced her anywhere else to put her right into the Gulfstream Parks Oaks. She ran second that day to Affirmative Lady at Gulfstream. He's had some more time with this horse to work with her, to get to learn the horse a little better here. I think she's been training well here. I think she's poised for a big effort at 10-1. And then, guys, fourth choice I ended up on here was the 9, the Baffert entry. She's your morning line favorite. She's going to take a ton of money based on the fact she's Baffert. She's undefeated. She's done nothing wrong here, but I'm not sure she's seen this level of competition on the West Coast that she's going to see here. Like I said, I think this is a really tough race, a really good race. And, guys, the only way to make money in this game is to beat the favorite. I'm hoping we can beat the favorite in here at a nice price on Friday.
There you go here, guys. 6 selections, 4, 8, 1, and 9 here. And that is a monster day of racing coming up Friday, as well as the Preakness, of course, huge Preakness card on Saturday at the legendary Pimlico Racetrack here. But plenty of opportunities for you guys to dive in and make some money partnering up with both Marco and Sig this weekend. In fact, Marco, in addition to all his Preakness race card and action he's going to have all weekend, you have the opportunity to hop on board with him and grab all his Major League Baseball, all of his NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs for just $39 right now. And of course, if you use that code Preakness10, guys, Preakness10 at checkout, you can get $10 off. Make sure you sign up and hop on board. The last 4 months for Marco have been 189 and 137 on all his plays, guys. That is a profit of close to $11,000 here by partnering up with Marco. So use that code Preakness10 at checkout and get all of the Preakness plays, not to mention Major League Baseball, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. $39 now. And then, of course, much like Sig, guys at cash tickets. And boy, there was a lot of money being made in the Derby. If you partnered up with Sig there, well, he's back at it for the Preakness, guys. And he's got his entire card available to you for $29 right now. Sign up for his package at his page, wt.buzz/Sig at wagertalk.com. Same situation. I'll have all the entire card, all his plays here this weekend, and it is a great racing card available to you. Same code, guys, by the way, Preakness10. You can get $10 off of his package as well. Don't wait. The folks that partnered up with these two for the Derby, boy, they're close to retiring right now. Boy, I wish I would have got a phone call then. That'd have been great. As we get ready to dive in with horse number 1 here, and National Treasure, Marco, I'm going to start with you here. Odd horses for you. This should be fun to see how this plays out. So tell me what you think about Johnny V. Is he wearing blinkers? That's my only question to you.
They're putting blinkers on, buddy. Johnny V, they're adding blinkers. And that means one thing. They're going to be busting out of there. And the name of this horse, National Treasure. His trainer is a national treasure, Bob Baffert. He's owned the Preakness. I think it's 6 wins for him in the Preakness, and he'll take a lot of money in this one. But this is a horse that, although I do believe he is a big contender in here, I'm not going to have him on top. Again, I said it before, I thought the racing out west for the road to the Derby was a little bit weak this year, and I'm going to stand by that. But this horse has the speed figures that says he should be able to go in this race. The fact that they're putting the blinkers on and he's got the rail, that means only one thing. Johnny V is going to be busting out of the gate to try to get best position as they head into that first turn. And I think he will be on the lead or just behind it. He's a horse that is a contender in this race, and this is the third start off the layoff. You know how I feel about that. That's the best in the form cycle. So I will have him on my ticket later in the show, but he won't be on top.
Okay, number National Tread. Gotta love to start off with a Baffert here. How about you? Talk to me here, Sig. Number 2, Chase the Chaos here. Now, this is a number. This is what I'm talking. I can't wait till you dive in here on number 2, Chase the Chaos. What do you got, Sig?
Oh, 50 to 1 in the morning line should have been more like 200 to 1 in my opinion. This colt earned an automatic berth in the Preakness with a February win at Golden Gate Fields in the El Camino Rio Derby. He's been racing that California circuit for trainer Ed Milger Jr. since his maiden breaking victory for trainer Robert Diodoro at Canterbury Park last September. Since that El Camino Rio victory, though, he's shown little in the 2 races, running a distance 7th in the San Felipe at Santa Anita and 8th in the California Derby back at Golden Gate Fields here. This horse is regressing and not one to waste your time with. Guys, toss him.
Did he say toss? I thought for sure he was just going to... I thought for sure we were going to get a real big... All right, Chase the Chaos is out here. Number 3, Marco. Shocker. So far, 8-5, 4-1. Castellano and Maj. Gad, what are we doing with this one?
Yeah, you can't knock this horse. He did everything right in the Derby, and everything broke right for him as well. As I said, I thought Two Phils ran the better race, but there is no Two Phils in this one. Then whenever Mage was making his move, there was another horse about to make the move too, and that was Angel of Empire. And split second, Mage got through the hole. Angel of Empire didn't and had to wait a second for the hole to open up. And that was the difference in the race as far as Angel of Empire, who was flying in the stretch. But there are no Kentucky Derby horses running back in this race other than Mage. And that's something that the powers that be got to really seriously look at and change the scheduling of the Triple Crown races. The coming back in 2 weeks. Too many times now, everybody is skipping the Preakness, and we're getting a soft race for the Kentucky Derby winner. Now, there are a couple new shooters in this year's race that skipped the Derby, and that's the only reason it's making this a competitive race. But Mage is the horse to beat. I think that the horse can be beat in this race. I'm going to have Mage first and second on my tickets because I'm not going to let him beat me in here, but he is vulnerable. Why? Because the horse has a tendency to break out of the gate slowly. And although it's only an 8-horse field, Preakness is, Pimlico is a track that favors speed. History has shown that. And if he does break poorly out of the gate and has to come from behind and doesn't get the fast fractions that we saw in the Derby, might run out of racetrack. But he will be flying in the stretch. I've got him on my ticket. You'll find out where later in the show.
All right. Can he go 2 for 2? Could we actually have a Triple Crown awaiting us here at the Belmont? Well, we'll see what you think of number 4 here. First, though, Sig, with Coffee with Chris. Amy Rodriguez on board. 20 to 1 in this. Love the number. Worth taking a look at here, though.
No, Joe, they make it pretty simple here. If any horse in this field has the home field advantage Saturday, it is Coffee with Chris, who's only made 1 start outside of Maryland in his career, and that was at neighboring Colonial Downs of Virginia. He's been consistent and he's active for 3 of his last 4 starts this year, and was the early pace setter in the prep race for this, the SEO at Laurel Park last month. But he was unable to hold off the field in the stretch run, and he ended up finishing 5th that day. This is a much tougher field than he's ever faced. I don't expect much from this gelding here. Go ahead and toss another one for me.
Wow, gotta love the way this is rolling here in Marco's favor. All right, let's go, Marco. Number 5 here. Red Route 1, Mr. Rosario. 10-1 here. What are you thinking about the number 5?
Well, if you go on speed figures, this horse has a shot in this race. He's got improving speed figures, and his last one puts him right there with everybody else. The problem with that last race was he ran that one on Lasix and had a giant race, came from dead last, was 12 lengths off at one point in this race and managed to get up to win by a head. So if he can duplicate that performance here at Pimlico, he could run on the bottom end of the ticket. Like the connections here with Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario is jockey that can get the most out of a horse. He's a very patient rider. That's what he's going to need in this one. But just like we said with Mage, this is a horse that's going to be coming from the back of the pack. That is not conducive to this track or the speed that I see in this race. Mm-hmm. And although I might throw him on the bottom end of a trifecta or a superfecta, that's about as far as I can get with him because I don't think he'll be able to reach from that far back.
Should we just pass? Is this just a pass here again, Sig? Here as we go to number 6, Perform. 15-1 here. Go ahead. I'll let you say it. Go ahead. What do you think?
Well, Joe, first I want to start by just thanking my esteemed colleague Marco over there for giving me a chance to talk about a horse that doesn't completely suck in this race. It took this good magic colt 6 tries to break his maiden, which he finally accomplished at Tampa in March. His next start was last out, the Tessio Stakes at Laurel Park, which is the prep race for the Preakness here. He got up late under jockey Fargo Lynch, who's going to ride him again on Saturday. His connections ponied up $150,000 in supplemental fee to get him into the starting gate for the Preakness here on Saturday. And that's more than he's earned in his career to date. So far, he's only made $130,000. So they bought this horse for $230,000. They've got $130,000 back now. They put another $150,000 out to get him into the Preakness gate here. Now his trainer is grizzled veteran Shug McGahee, so I don't believe he put him into a spot where he doesn't think he has got a shot here. And this horse has improved here his past couple starts here, but his best races have been on Lasix, so that's something to consider as well. He won't have Lasix on Saturday. And while this colt may have some wins in him down the road here, I don't believe Saturday is going to be his day. He's another toss for me.
I knew it was coming somewhere in there. All right, so we're going to have to go to who else? Chad Brown, Blazing Sevens with Irad Ortiz Jr., 6-1. Chad loves that whole skipping the Derby and winning the Preakness here. So what do you think, Marco? What are we going to do?
Yeah, Blazing Sevens will get some money for just that reason because of past history with Chad Brown. But my problem with this horse is go 2 back. What was up with that race 2 back? The horse was just absolutely pathetic. Came back, raced the horse in the Toyota Bluegrass, and although he did finish 3rd in that race, he was a distant 3rd. He was no factor to the 2 leaders in that race. If he reverts back to the form that he showed last year, you've got to consider him. This is the 3rd start off of a layoff. You know how I feel about that. All of that points to it, but I can't see this horse hitting better than the bottom end of the exotics. That would be the trifecta and superfecta. He gets Irad. So because you got Chad Brown, because you got Irad, the horse is going to get more money than I feel we should. And this is a combination when these 2 hook up, Chad Brown and Irad, they're in the money 65% of the time. That's hard to ignore, but there's better horses in this race. And we'll tell you which ones they are in the best bets.
Oh, coming up. All right. Wait. This can't be. Are we coming back to Marco with number 8? Because this is entirely too chalky for Sig to have anything to say about, but we'll try. First mission, our boy Brad Cox and Louis Saez here. What are you thinking, Sig?
Well, Joe, first I'm going to go back 2 weeks here to the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. We had a horse that had never competed as a 2-year-old, making only his 4th career start. And he went on to win the Derby. That horse's name was Mage. But you know what? We have another horse in here on Saturday that never competed as a 2-year-old. He's making his 4th career start. And that's the Brad Cox trainee here out of Street Sense, First Mission. He debuted at Fairgrounds in February, going 6 furlongs. He settled for second that day to his stablemate, Bishop's Bay, who flattered that performance when last week he ran second in the Peter Pan at Belmont. He followed that up with that effort in March for the first time going a route distance, taking control of the race and pulling away to win by more than 6 lengths that day. And that was back on March 18th at the Fairgrounds. That performance was impressive enough for trainer Brad Cox to ship him to what they call the wild card of Derby preps here, the Lexington. He would have never made it into. He had 2 or 3 weeks off of that second career start in order to get into one of those major Derby preps to get you 100 points or 40 points into the Derby starting gate. But he did send him to the Lexington and Keeneland the following week, where there's 20 points, 30 points awarded to the winner. And First Mission did win that day at Keeneland, beat Arabian Lion, beat Disarm, who had a nice race in the Kentucky Derby here. While he didn't have enough points to get in the Derby starting gate, he does qualify here to get into the Preakness starting gate here. This is a horse that's on the improve here. I think the Lexington was a great prep for Saturday's Preakness here. He's improved with each start. He may be looking to turn the tables on Mage, winning his top 3-year-old, running his top 3-year-old race in his 4th career start. I think First Mission is a definite contender in this field.
All right, well, there you go. We got 8 horses here in the Preakness, all but one, and it happens to be the one that won the Derby, is racing here. So we've got 7 horses, I believe here, Marco, that, well, they didn't race a couple of weeks ago, did they? So poor old Mage is going to have to go up against some fresh legs. Who do these guys think is going to be on this card? What does that card look like? We're going to get to that in a second, but a quick reminder, Marco, $39 will get you all his Preakness picks, not to mention Major League Baseball. How about the NBA playoffs as well as the NHL playoffs? $39 right now. It is Page. Use that code Preakness10, and that will give you $10 off this package, guys. Take advantage of it now. And then, of course, Sig is going to have the entire card ready for you, fresh off cashing multiple tickets, big tickets there on Derby race day a couple of weeks ago. Partner up with him here this week. Use that code Preakness10 for that $10 off on his package as well, guys. No reason not to make this leg of the Triple Crown one hell of a profitable Saturday. So, Marco, I'm going to come to you here, man, since you had most of the horses that could actually win this race. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what this card looks like here for you this weekend?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to start with the horse I didn't even get to talk about because Sig hogged him, and that's the 8-horse First Mission. That's my horse on top, and it's Brad Cox. And out of Post 8, yeah, this is a horse that's only got 3 career starts. What do I tell you all the time? Horses with this few starts, we haven't seen the ceiling anywhere near it yet. They're able to take big leaps. And if you look at his last race and look at the speed figure, that puts him right there to win this race. And I think he does. He's got gate speed, tactical speed. This horse will be on or just off the lead, depending on what Baffert's horse does down at the rail. But he'll be firing off the lead. And if it does end up in a duel between those 2 horses on the front end, coming from Post 8, First Mission will be on the outside. He can pin the 1 horse down at the rail. That's always more uncomfortable for the inside horse. So I got First Mission to win the race. Second, I've got Mage. And, he's the class of the race. He's the Kentucky Derby winner. And history has shown that the horses that run well in the Kentucky Derby generally come right back and run well in the Preakness. Well, he's the only horse running back from the Derby. So we got to use him, and I have him in the 2nd spot. In the 3rd spot, here is my long shot. And I gave my esteemed colleague a chance to talk first on this horse. And although he did talk about him a little bit, not nearly enough. He dropped the ball here. And again, my style of handicapping. I go back and watch the races, guys, and look at the replays. I dig into it because there's more in the replays than you see in just the past performance lines. And I'm going to give everybody that's watching this a homework assignment. I want you to go back and watch this horse's last race. At the gate, he almost falls to his knees as the gate is sprung. He picks himself back up from that and breaks out of the gate. What happens then? He breaks out of the 7 post. He gets pinched by the 6 and the 8, who did a pinball number on him. So that ended up putting him dead last to start the race. This is a horse that generally is not sitting dead last. If you look at his other races, he's usually around the lead, just off it in that stalking position. He ran dead last around the whole track. Then when it came time for him to make his move in deep stretch, he was behind a wall of horses. That wall of horses kept cutting over in front of him. Every time he saw a hole that he tried to go through, somebody closed it on him. So any other horse, especially a 3-year-old, this horse does have 7 starts, so he's not totally green, would have stopped. This horse patiently waited, and finally a hole opened that he went through on the rail, but then he had to come to the outside, jerk the horse to the outside, only got to run basically about 50 yards before the wire, and absolutely exploded by the horse at the wire. If he gets out halfway down the stretch, he wins by open lengths. This horse at 15-1 is worth a bet. And then Sig did mention the part about the supplemental entry fee, $150,000 supplemental fee for this race. This isn't a $3 million race like the Derby. They're going for $1.5 million. So I think the winner's going to get like $900,000. That's a big price to pay. And his trainer's not one that'll just put a horse in to feel all warm and fuzzy to race in a race like this. If this would have been a Lucas horse, I would have, not paid attention to the supplemental fee because he likes to race in the big races when he can. Shug McKay, he does it when he's got a horse. And they're putting up a lot of money in this race, basically putting the whole bankroll that the horse has made so far, and then some. I'm going to put him on my ticket. Perform as a very live long shot. I have him in the 3rd spot. And closing out the field, I've got Bob Baffert, the 1 horse, closing out my ticket. I already talked about him. So for me, it's 8, 3, 6, 1.
All right, 8, 3, 6, and 1 there. Some nice numbers on that ticket. Sig, are you all right? I'm trying to figure out how many horses you previewed are going to be on this ticket. I've got a guess. Tell me what your ticket looks like here.
Well, Joe, I got 1 horse that I covered in the preview and 3 horses that my esteemed colleague Marco covered here. But I did land on the 8 horse I was just talking about, guys. First Mission. For Luis Saez is riding here for Brad Cox. Mage is going to go off as a big favorite here on Saturday, and rightfully so. But why can't First Mission turn the tables on his fellow 3-year-old? First Mission's been improving with each start, and Cox has had 5 weeks to work with this colt to prepare him for this spot on Saturday. He's going to face a much smaller field in the Preakness that Mage saw at Churchill Downs just 2 weeks ago. And like I was telling you guys, his loss in his mating was flattered by the stablemate Bishop's Bay coming back at Belmont last week and finishing 2nd in the Peter Pan. While Mage is the horse to beat in here, we're going to try to do that and make some money on this race with the up-and-comer First Mission. Top selection, the 8 horse. My second selection here is the 3 Mage, Javier Castellano for Gustavo Delgado. You can't knock the Kentucky Derby winner. He ran an amazing race that day just 2 weeks ago. And my only concern with that Good Magic colt is the turnaround time here. He is the only horse coming back on the 2 weeks rest off of the Derby here. He was all out in the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs and earned that victory for coming way back in the field to take control of that race down the stretch here and earning the roses that day. He's had 4 to 5 weeks between each of his career starts, so coming back on 2 weeks rest is my only concern with him here. But you aren't going to make any money betting Mage on Saturday, guys. If he can repeat his Derby effort, he wins here. But we're going to try to beat him with 8 First Mission. My third choice in here is the 1 horse, the Bob Baffert horse. Johnny V's riding it. 4-1 your morning line. Most of the country ignored the West Coast racing this year for the 3-year-old season, in my opinion. If you guys watched the Derby preview we did here for Pundits, I was on Practical Move. I like Skinner. I like Mandarin Hero, guys. I thought that San Diego Derby was a pretty good race here. Practical Move and Skinner both scratched out of the Kentucky Derby here. Mandarin Hero made the starting gate, didn't show much in there. But I think National Treasure is going to run a big race here. Bob Baffert is tied right now for the most Preakness wins, could get the lead here. National Treasure with the blinkers added on is going to bust out of the gate. Johnny V is going to take him to the front like he did with Authentic in the Derby just a few years back and just try to set the pace slow enough to leave him enough in the tank to keep going right down and take him hard to gate. Can he do it? Yes, Bob Baffert's done this before. He knows how to win at Pimlico. He knows how to win the Preakness here. That addition of blinkers is going to help here, and they are going to definitely try to use that tactic. Will First Mission and Mage be able to stalk and then pounce? We'll wait and see. My fourth choice in here is the 7 Blazing Sevens for Chad Brown. I read it. Ortiz is aboard. We've seen this move with Chad Brown before. He's found success with it. But while Blazing Sevens was improving as a 2-year-old, he has yet to show that same ability as a 3-year-old. Can he win on Saturday? Yes, but I doubt it. Guys, my choices in here for Saturday's Preakness, 8, 3, 1, and 7.
There it is, 8, 3, 1, and 7. A lot of different ways to attack this race here, guys, coming up. The Preakness here at Pimlico on Saturday. But in order to ensure that you get the right combinations along with the right plays on the entire card there at Pimlico and around the country, the best move is to head over to wagertalk.com, visit Sig's page, pick up that Preakness guide of his there. He's going to have his entire card available for you here. And if you use that code Preakness10, you can take $10 off right now. It's a $29 Preakness weekend package, guys. Every race here Sig's involved in, he's got you covered there. Take the $10 off using Preakness 10 at checkout, and the same with Marco. Same code, only you'll get not only all of Marco's Preakness selections, you will also get his Major League Baseball plays as well as the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs, as Marco, guys, has been absolutely crushing it. Him and his clients, what a run it has been last 4 months. 189 and 137 on all his plays. That's just about $11,000 in profit, guys. So partner up with Marco, partner up with Sig, and what is going to be a huge weekend, certainly at the track there. Pimlico will be the focus. And, of course, after we figure out who it is that we're going to crown here at Pimlico, we do have one more Triple Crown race coming up. And that is the granddaddy of them all there, the Belmont. So more racing coming up here from Pony Pundits. Certainly hope that you will hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make plans to come back and join us here in a couple of weeks as we do it all over again for the Belmont. And on behalf of Marco D'Angelo and Sig, we appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all the plays this weekend. We'll talk to you again soon. Good luck.